Hi, Pottery peeps. This is Tiffany from Hollow Creek Pottery in Springville, Utah. And it is an absolute glorious day. In fact, I've had a glorious week. My physical therapist, Ed, made me promise not to come into the studio for 2 weeks, and he promised me it would make a difference. Boy, that was a long 2 weeks. And I didn't make 2 weeks, but I made 10 days because Mickey, my student that has been teaching, is off on a Mediterranean cruise, so I had to start teaching on Monday. But I'm listening to my PT because he's always been right. I've been seeing him in the last 2 years. I've been in PT for 19 months. So, and he's been on the nose way before orthopedic surgeon was. So anyway, it's made a difference because if you'll look above me, I'll showcase these later because they're going to get glazed. I got all of the centerpieces thrown. We're doing ring bases for the wedding in April. And I got all of them done for the tables. And now I get to do some fun stuff for like the bride's table, the guest book table. And I'm just going to do what I want to do. And then she can tell me which one she likes, and we're just going to do some different things. She trusts me. She's my niece, and she's an amazing artist in her own right. So we're going to make this today. We're going to use Sharon Hoppy's form because if you remember, if you've been watching for a while, I did a bowl. The first time I used her form to make a bowl, it's a bowl form, I left it on the form too long, and I had to cut it off, and so I cut it here and here. And then once I had it off, it's like, well, you know, you made a mistake, so, or an accident, so happy accident, what can I do with it? And so I made this gravy boat or a batter bowl, or maybe a small batter bowl. But I'm going to show you how to do it with the mold, and I'll link what I use in the description. And then I'm also going to throw one and show you how to do the same thing with a thrown bowl. All right, so I've already got a slab. I am actually using, don't you just love it when here I am doing a video and I'm using B-mix with sand, which I have not worked with in, I don't know how long, a decade or more. But I've been having issues with the B-mix that I've talked about cracking in weird places. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to be doing some bigger stuff. I got plans, you guys. One good thing about being down, my sketchbook is getting super full because I've got all these ideas. So it's going to be a really cool year. So if you're not subscribed, you better subscribe because I got some cool stuff in the pipeline. Anyway, so I rolled out on the B-mix with sand, about 3/8, and then I rolled texture into it. And I really like, I got these MKM rollers. I don't know if you can see, but I love the, you know, it's kind of random. I mean, it's obviously symmetrical, but there's no set pattern because I'm going to drape it over the bowl. Not going to really know what it's going to look like until I take it off the mold. So let's go ahead and I will lower you down and we'll get this set up. All right, so what I did is I took my texture and I drape it over the mold so I can kind of see, kind of control where that's going to land, right? And then I'm going to coax it because I don't want it to fold on me. If you do thinner clay, that's why I did 3/8, then I rolled my texture in, so I'm probably down to 1/4, maybe a tick above 1/4. But the thinner the clay, the more problems you're going to have with the folds. Same thing like if you color in, if your clay isn't thick enough, it's going to fold on you. It's going to gather. If you've ever sewn before, it's like you're gathering it. So I'm just taking this really softly and then just kind of molding it around the form. And then kind of lifting it. Actually, you know what? This might be a lot more helpful if I get rid of some of this. Oh, yay, the sun went back behind the clouds. All right, let's get rid of this. And toss that over there. And then let's go ahead and I do show this the first time when I used it for the shamrock bowls. Was it shamrock bowls? I'm not sure. I have another video on how to use this Sharon Hoppy's mold. So I'm just bringing that around. If it gathers out here, it doesn't bother me because I'm going to cut that off anyway. All right, we're getting there. Yay! And then I'm just squeezing it. The closer I can get it to the mold, I think that could have been my problem too, is I got it super tight to the mold the first time. All right, I'm going to grab my red rib. I've left it over here. Okay. And now we got sun back. We're supposed to get, it's been like 60 degrees the last couple of days. It's just been absolutely glorious with the sun coming in or it being warm. And last night was super warm. It was so nice. But we're supposed to turn nasty tonight. And we're supposed to get snow. I'm actually not going to turn my wheel on right now. I'm just going to see if I can do this without the wheel. Uh-oh. I might be doing this again. I think I put my texture in too deep. Well, maybe not. Yep, I did. So, be mixed with sand might not be... Well, we're going to do this. I could start over, but I'm not going to. Because I've got so much texture in there, I'm just gonna, I got a tear here. So I'm just gonna add a coil. I did not slip and score this coil because this clay is fresh out of the bag. And so I'm just going to work it in over the crack, the tear. It's basically a tear, and I know when I did the braid, I did it kind of deep. So I get carried away sometimes with that braid. So I'm just going to smooth that in. Then I'll address it later. So we'll see if I like this clay. I prefer clays, non-groggy clays. So I'm going to get some water on my red rib. Just dipping the edge of it in the rib or the water and then using it to smooth the texture out and just compress it so the clay knows, oh, this is what we're doing now. You had me flat, then you pressed all this stuff into me, and now you want me to go around the bowl? Yeah. Yes, I talked to the clay. Talked to my animals. Talked to my clay. When I was writing books, I talked to my characters. So I'm actually going to put my glasses on and I'm going to come out here and just hold my knife and get myself so straight down. And I'll take this off. We'll see how we're doing. She does on this bat system, because I'm also using her bat system. She does have a flat where it doesn't have this in it, but I'm also going to throw on this, and I didn't want to have to change things. And the first time I made the bowl, when I made the happy accident, I did it this way. So I'm just going to do it this way. then I'm just going to set that aside. Now I'm going to put a foot on this. And if you've been watching for a while, you saw how I did the foot on the other one. So I'm going to come in about here and I'm just going to score it. And I've got another slab, a little bit of a slab under plastic over here. Let's go ahead and stop this. I also have the set of cookie cutters you can find anywhere. You can find them on Amazon. And I'm going to find that one. And then I usually go down a step. You could, if you want a taller foot, go with that one. I'm going to go with what I did before. And I'm going to cut myself a foot. And then center. Hope you can see what I'm doing. So I cut myself a foot because I cannot see the screen because the sun is so much. So I'm going to center this as best as I can and take out that middle. And then I got a ring. A misshapen ring, but that's okay because we're going to put it on my score lines. I already know where it needs to go, so. I'm not going to add any more water because, like I said, this is fresh out of the bag. It's soft clay to begin with, so I just scored with a little bit, whatever water I picked up on my scoring tool. Okay, so before I set it down, just make sure I'm not quite centered, but that's not really going to matter because watch, this is magic. I love doing foots like this. I've got, well, I guess I don't do it on plates. I don't know if I've actually ever shown this. I do, because I've seen people make foots for their plates or dishes, and they'll usually do, they'll take that corn cob thingy and cut out stuff. I like doing coils. All right, let's add some speed to this. And I'm gonna just wet that, put my water where I want it. I'm not like dipping water everywhere. I'm gonna hold it down with my finger and pinch it. Get it down so I don't have any air bubbles inside of it, right? Now you can leave it like that, but this one, I pulled it up. So basically, for wheel throwers, we're just pulling a little bit of a cylinder. Just squeezing it and pulling it up and giving it that shape. I can feel the sound. It's another reason why I really like smooth clays like B-Mix or porcelain or the Terra Red or even the obsidian black clay by Aardvark, because it's just so smooth and I just love it. All right, I'm gonna see if that's what I want. I actually think I'm gonna pull that out just a little bit more. I'm gonna dig in here with my finger, get some of that clay, and I'm going to pull it up. So I got a little, if you think about it, I got a little bowl on top of a bowl. And then I'm just gonna flatten that down so I have a flat spot. And then come back with my sponge and get rid of any sharp edges. And there, you've got a foot. Now, I have also done this on wheel thrown bowls. That's because if you watch for a while, I'm notorious for having, it's really hard for me to leave clay there. Because I don't want to recycle trimmings if I can get away with it. So I don't trim a lot. I do trim, Did a lot of trimming this week on those donuts, but I do not trim a lot. Now, if you didn't want texture on the inside, this would be the time that you would want to add texture now. I am going to bring my red rib back in here because this has got sand in it, so the sponge brings up the grog. Oh, I have those sponges from Mud Tools that are supposed to be for grog. I bought those too. I've been being down, I've been shopping. I got them somewhere. Now I got to remember where I put everything and everything that I bought. All right, so I am going to pop this out of here. I'm going to set it to dry, or to get leather hard, and I'm going to go ahead and throw a bowl, and hopefully I can beat the sun and it's not too bad. I did find for throwing that I liked putting some water down there. It creates a suction. And let me grab, I don't have my ball of clay here. I don't think I finished telling you, I got on to another subject. When I throw a bowl, and if I want an elevated foot, and I don't have the clay there, I will do exactly what I showed you on the slab bowl. I believe this is 2 pounds of clay. I got a 2 pound and a 3 pound here. I know they're going to be bigger than that one, but I'm not sure how much clay for that size of a ball, so I just cut off some and just went with it. Yeah, we'll have to see. I just don't like groggy clays. I mean, I do use groggy clays, especially for bakeware and that kind of thing. But I like smoother clays. Oh, my hands will get exfoliated today. All right, so I'm just going to open this up. And I am going to attempt to leave some clay there so I can trim. I should probably check it, but I think it's all right. I'm going to pull this toward me. I don't want a deep bottom because this is going to be a batter bowl. Also, another channel to watch, if you haven't already, the Potter's Journal. He's been doing a lot of batter bowls. I'm going to go ahead and put a swirl in this one since I don't have any texture. And I'm just going to pull this up into a cylinder. Now when I'm pulling a bowl, I pull a straight cylinder to start. You want, a lot of people will lose their walls because they don't have the foundation. I can also pull a straight. The last thing I do on bowls is shape them. I get that clay out of the bottom first and I get the height. I leave clay at the top so I have something to work with. I don't want to thin that out yet because I'm going to pull it out. Yeah, 2 pounds is more, probably 1.5 pounds or 1.25 pounds for that size. So we're going to have ourselves a much bigger batter bowl. So now I'm squeezing in and I'm going to pull straight up at an angle. It's going to give me my height. I think I have maybe, actually I'm going to go ahead and do my, in case I don't get to trimming this, I'm going to lift that up. Kind of, actually that was bad. I had too much of a ribbon of clay. So I get my hand wet and I come over here and I hold it and I lift that clay up. I bring that there. Other potters, Vaughn Smith and Matthew Kelly, both amazing. Master potters, amazing throwers, do a foot like that. Because it's quick, it's easy, and it's done. So I don't have to put a foot on this if I don't want to. All right. Sometimes I will check to make sure my hand will slide. And then I always have my sponge with me. So I am looking for shape now, not necessarily height. All right. Now, with a bowl, especially a batter bowl, they get a lot of use. You're whisking, you're stirring. You got to think function. And you need to leave some clay on this rim. You need to give it a lip, right? So that it can take some abuse. All right, now with this one, I'm going to do now. Because I like morphing on the wheel. And there's my knife. So I've got myself a good batter bowl. Depending on how much this clay shrinks, I didn't look. I'm sure it's probably the same as V-Mix. So what I'm going to do, and I haven't done this on a wheel-thrown bowl before, so hopefully it'll work out. I am actually going to come in, and I'm going to cut this. No, I'm going to cut it. Should I cut it at a diagonal, or should I cut it straight? Okay, let me think. We're just going to cut it straight. Let's just keep it simple. Actually, what I should do, I am going to give myself a line. And then I know where to cut to, so they're all the same. If I can get down far enough to, you know what, I don't think that line, well, this one's gonna look different. And that one, I don't know, you know, because this one's not cut down as far. I think I'm down about maybe 1.25 inches, maybe 1 inch. And I think that other one was 2 inches. We'll give it a trial run. And the nice thing about cutting your bowls and morphing them, just as you don't need slip, you don't need to score. So this one's gonna look probably different. It's gonna come in more. That's okay. We're gonna go ahead. We're going with it. So I'm just gonna overlap them, squeeze them together. I'll clean it up, but not right now. Let's get them all overlapped. First, this is going to give us a completely different shape, which is going to be fun. I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. It was actually getting monotonous throwing all those donuts. Granted, we got for the wedding, there's 12 for the tables, and there's 3 different styles. So that kept me from, because I don't like doing the same thing over and over and over again. So, all right, so that's kind of cool. So I think I need to let this stiffen up before I do, well, I don't know. I'm going to stamp where they join, but what I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see, I want the inside smooth. I don't care about the outside. The outside doesn't have to be smooth. You know what? Let's give it some time. So we'll let this stiffen up and we'll come back to it in a bit too. Okay? And then hopefully, well, hopefully the sun will be in a better place. All right, I'm back and I was gone a little longer than I'd hoped or thought in this setup. Did the same thing. So one of the reasons why I originally left it on the mold was because I had just thrown this foot, so it was super, super soft. And so I left it on the mold. And with pottery, there's a sweet spot. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this one up just like I did the other one. I'm going to cut it up about, where's my, let's see. So this is about 2 inches up, okay? So I'm just going to, whoops, I should probably measure it now that I've already cut it. So, and I'm just doing the straight cut like before. And I'm using the bats, the marks on the bat as my guide. Okay. My foot's actually pretty good now. And I love that she's got these big holes in here, but I'm going to go ahead and carefully move the sides away from, and then I'm going to, yeah, I left it on here too long again. Had lunch with my husband, thinking, yeah, I got plenty of time. Ah! Okay. So I'm just gonna work it. There we go. It's starting to release now. It's probably because I had that split that I sealed and added too much water. And I forgot I'm gonna have to dress that. Okay. So this is what we got now. I'm trying to find out where that split was, actually. Okay, it's over here somewhere. Actually, I'm just gonna put it back on its bat. I don't like working on these metal wheels without something because you can get water dripping down or whatever, and it will stick your piece to the metal. All right, so now I'm going to score one side, the outside. I'm not going to score the inside because I've got all that texture it's going to create like a tooth. So I'm not going to do that. Where did I? Yeah, there's my brush. And I'm just using water. If I was still over at my wheel, I would actually use the slip. For my wheel, it's actually one of the reasons why I love working on my wheel is because everything's there. Well, most everything, you know. But so I'm just going to go around, add some water. I'm not going crazy with it. And I'm not going to add any slip because I'm really going to press this together. I'm actually going to add my lovely bifocals. All right, so I'm going to see if I can get this a little closer to you so you can see what I'm doing. See if that works. So I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm not going to overlap these guys as much as I did the wheel one because my clay is a lot drier and I don't want to split down here. So I'm really, really pinching these together. And I'm going about 1/4 inch over at the top. At the bottom, it's barely anything. But at the top, it's about 1/4 inch. Maybe 3/8. I don't know. Somewhere around in there. I'm a potter. I'm not a math person. Looks good, you know, winging with it, going with it. I'm very much one of those that wings things. Okay, so, and I really, really pinch, make sure I've got really good connection, and this will get covered under plastic too to slow dry. And then come back with my little finger tool and smooth those seams. This is one where you want to highlight the seam. You don't want to hide it. So let's see. I'm just going to go around and do that real quick. And then I'll address the rim. At this point too, I'll also clean up any score marks that I might have left. Did I get that one? Okay, I did go and find my sponge, my mud tool sponge that is supposed to be good for groggy clay. And I'm just going to smooth those down. Oh yeah, that works really nice. And then I'm going to smooth this rim, and then we're going to morph this rim. Smooth that top joint too. If you want to, go ahead and take your tool, make sure it's a good connection. I'm also going to add some decorative elements here. So I'm just going to smooth this rim. I don't want a sharp rim. Okay, now we're going to end up morphing it. We're probably going to lose some of this texture, and I'm fine with that. It actually kind of looks nice. I'll show you with the original one here in a second. I like the outcome of it. Okay. If you'll notice this, so you lose some of the texture right on the rim, but that's okay because you don't miss it. And it makes that rim even softer. I'm gonna just pull you up a little bit. Personal space. I need some personal space to work. All right, so then I'm gonna pick which direction. All right, so in this texture, I've got these kind of Art Deco arrows going this direction. So to me, it makes sense that if you're going to be pouring out of it, pour out of that direction. So I'm going to get some water on this rim. I'm going to bring these guys in. I might have to get some more water. Actually, where's the other sponge? So that sponge does not hold a lot of water to where this one does, and depending on how dry your piece is, you might need a lot of water. So I'm going to bring them in like this, you know, and then I am going to smooth that lip like that with the side of my finger. Works really, really well. And I'm smoothing away the texture, which is what I want. All right. Then I'm going to come back with this one and any of the grog that I brought to the surface, the sand. And I cracked this. Yeah, I should have done this about a half an hour ago. Oh, man, I tell you, pottery keeps you humble. All right, so what did I do next? Okay, so these guys, I'm actually just going to go ahead and wet these. Put the water where I want it with this other sponge. I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm not going to make that as pronounced as the spout. Okay. You can do what you want. This is just what I've been doing. I encourage you to try different things. Encourage you to make mistakes and then see what the opportunity that mistake creates. All right, so you could leave it like that. You know, you don't have to do what I'm going to do. And I am not going to push the sides out as much as I did the back and the front. I just kind of want that petal look, you know, just to give it some definition that way. All right. So now I'm gonna check my seams again, make sure nothing opened up with all of that. Just smooth them out again. Okay, so this is our front. The arrows are going that way. So what we're gonna do now, and I don't want water on that foot. Okay, so our spout's over there. I already rolled out a coil. And I'm going to cut 4 little balls. Actually, I don't even have to cut them in balls. I could just leave them, I just might leave them like that. Just round them off. All right. Just gonna score right, let's see, score right here on the joints where this just gives you another place to decorate, and which is always fun, right? Those of us that have a texture problem or don't know when to stop. I definitely fall in line with that. Kind of also you could make these into kind of gives them, if you wanted to, it gives you eyes. You could do more of an animal shape kind of gravy boat, which would be kind of fun. Whoops, don't do that. And I'm gonna press a stamp into these places, which again is going to help with that connection and keep that connection secured so it doesn't crack open and that kind of thing. You also tend to have more luck if you're building with a clay that has some grog, because it naturally has some tooth and will grab onto each other a little bit easier than your porcelains and your B mixes and so forth. All right, so this is one of my favorites. I actually made it myself. It's just a piece of clay, and you can tell it's been used a lot with red clays. And I've had it for years, so I encourage you to make your own designs and have your own stamps. And then I am just going to press that in there. Can you see that? Isn't that cute? And then just go around and I'm really pressing. I mean, I'm holding here, but I'm really pressing. Okay. And if I need to, I'll go around, clean up any slip, anything like that I need to. All right, so now we need to do our handle. And I've got a handle, I've already pulled handles. I pulled handles actually for all 3 of these. So with a handle on a what are we calling this? Batter bowl or gravy boat. Where's my, oh, my knife's right in front of me. Don't you just hate that? When your knife is right in front of you and you cannot see it. All right, so I'm gonna take this MKM tool. I use the braid in there, so I'm just going to repeat the pattern on the handle. But when you're doing a handle for these bowls, you've got to also think, I'm going to bring it over, actually I'm going to turn that back around because then I got a sharp edge over here. I'm going to bring it right to the edge. I already know I've got too much clay here at the top. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off. I'm going to flatten that out. And you've seen me do handles before, those of you who have been watching. So I'm making a paddle, basically. And then I don't want a really large handle. Anything that you're gonna have a lot of weight into it, you want that handle close to you want your hand close to the piece, because you're lifting this, and this is a gravy boat, you're lifting hot liquid. You don't want your handle clear out here. You're not going to have a lot of control over the pouring, over what's the contents. And so I'm going to just kind of find my center, going to bring that in, and then I'm going to kind of eyeball where I want my handle, and about right there. So I'll go ahead and measure this for you. This is actually a pretty short handle because remember, it's going to be curled. Right now it's at 5.5, but I am going to curl that. So I'm going to score. One of the reasons I will score with a wet scoring tool, and I build up my own slip. All right. I'm going to score right under here, and I'm going to score right here because I already know that's where it's going to fall. I'm going to pinch this, smooth that off, kind of round it off. Go ahead and score that. And I'll build, I could add slip to this, but I've already built up the slip on the handle. My handle is wet. I actually didn't let it dry out. And so I just want to make sure I'm in the center. Push that handle, and I'm pushing right underneath the rim. That rim is resting on the handle. And then take it and look at it and make sure it's straight up and down before you anchor this here. All right. Now, where's my dowel, which is my favorite way to make sure I have a good attachment. I'll put a dowel in there and I will rock it and make sure that that is securely connected. I don't think I need to do this down at the bottom, but I will come in with a coil and pinch one end of this coil and put it down in here with, actually let's go ahead and center that up if I can, if it's, there we go. And then support it underneath and move that in. Just gives you a little bit of support. I never have cracking on my handles when I do this. And it's not a big job. Just to add that little bit of clay. So I'm going to make sure that that's in there really good. Come back with my brush, smooth my tool marks. Then I'll come up here and address this. Now, I will take my tool because I want to see that there's a definition, and I'll smooth that down. Get my finger wet, come in here and smooth this into the pot. And this one is now done. I need to pick it up and make sure that this looks nice under here too. So smooth that in, and I also will check this. A lot of times I run my little tool and I'm probably out of the screen. I'll run my little tool up. So I'm not going to show on the wheel thrown bowls because I'm going to do the exact same thing on the wheel thrown bowls that I did here. Mainly because I don't want to get this video too long since I tend to be winded. So, but it's the exact same thing. So before I set it on my shelves, I will just double check all my form that I haven't morphed it. I'll wrap it in plastic and I'll put it on the shelf for a couple of days, check on it, you know, do all the things, you know what I mean. And before I let them get not bone dry, but really, really leather hard before I take the plastic off and allow them to just dry, which means, you know, they're pretty close to going into the kiln at that point. So, yeah, so I'll just look it over, adjust where I need it, get that goober off of there. Because like I've said before, I want it ready to go in the kiln when it's done drying. I don't want to have to sand, scrape, clean up pots. I want to be on making the next thing. I don't want to be thinking of this anymore until I have to glaze it. Okay, so I will go ahead and show these pots when they're finished, but it's literally the same thing. If anything, this one's more dramatic because I went down 2 inches, and one of them I went down 1 inch. The other one I went down probably 1.5 inches. But I will put pictures up at the end. And if you'll notice, I have not taken this off of the bat. And I'll just double check because I've already, these guys I'm not even worried about. I just need to clean them up. I will add some decorative elements. Actually, you've already seen what I'm going to do, so why don't I speed this process up, and I have one more thing I want to share with you that is kind of fun. Okay, I did find a big difference between a thrown bowl and the hand-built one. First of all, remember I left this rim thicker, and it's thicker than the hand-built one, of course, because that one, the thickness is all the same. But I left some stuff here. This is a bigger bowl. It's going to get whipped, you know, a whisk, a big spoon. So when I tried to move this to make a spout, I couldn't do it. So I couldn't do it the way I wanted to. And I like a thin spout on the edge, because think of it, it's kind of like It cuts whatever you're pouring, and you end up with less drips that way. So I got it wet, and I'm just squeezing with my fingers. This would be easier if you had done it right when you threw it. But you know, I'm learning. I'm always learning. You know, you just never stop learning as a potter, which is what I love. New techniques, new tools, changes in clay, changes in glazes, different ways of doing things. Everybody has their own way of doing things. All right, so if you can see, that's pretty razor thin now. And I have taken a lot of the thickness out of the clay. I'm going to go ahead and stretch it now. Oops, but I wanted to get at least not quite such a thin lip there. Let me get my finger wet again. I'm going to hold on the insides of these, and then I'm just going to stretch it like that. Kind of give it a little bit of a throat there. Yeah, that's nice. Aren't you cute? All right, now I'm going to attempt, because it got a little drier, I'm going to attempt to just squeeze these out. I don't know if I can because it got drier on me. But, you know, we'll find out. All right. Oh, and this that I showed, this is the seed, half a seed of a eucalyptus. And I can't remember the woman's name, but I got it a long, long time ago from another potter. And I love it. I use it all the time. It makes X's or crosses. It's just an interesting organic tool. So when you're out on walks or nature walks, or if you got young kids, have them help you find things out in nature that can be your tools. That tool's been with me at least 15, 20 years. And I love it. And because it's a seed, it doesn't really stick to the clay. Kind of like a wood stamp. All right, so I got something funny looking right now. It's kind of cool though. So let's go ahead and do this last one where the handle is going to end up being. This is actually, with St. Patty's Day coming out, this could look like a shamrock. All right, so I did pull this one out harder than I did the size, and I'm just going to flatten that. Okay, I'm going to clean it up and add my handle. This is still too wet to trim, so I'm not going to show that because I don't know yet if I'm going to. So I've got a foot here that I already put in, so I don't need to. It determines when I pick it up, when I actually take it off the bat, if I have too much weight there. That's what will determine if I'm going to trim it. Okay, so now it's just a matter of the shape. And since I'm thinking more gravy boat or batter, let's see, let's go ahead and pinch that in a little bit. Give us more of a swoop there, like that. And I did on this one too. I still have my line there, but actually it's kind of cool, so I just might leave it. But instead of showing, I like when you're hand building to show the seams, but this is wheel thrown, and I kind of like that I blended them into the piece because they're going to wonder, how did she do that? I love that. I love it when people say, how did you do that? So, all right. So I'm just going to actually kind of pinch these up. Make sure my spout. Okay, then it's the handle. And so I just showed you I'm going to do the same type of thing with the handle. But these are some differences that I did with the wheel thrown one. And like I said, I will show pictures at the end. I think I might just kind of I don't know if I want them flared out. Most gravy boats are oval, so we just might make it more oval. I don't know. It's still wet enough that I can play with it. So we'll see. All right, so that is, and I'm sweating. It's warm. And yet we're supposed to have like, I don't know, we're supposed to get like 8 feet of snow in the mountains tomorrow and 2 feet in the valley and like 3 or 4 on the bench, and I live on the bench. And so I know that clouds are coming in. That wind's going to pick up and it's going to get gnarly here in a bit if that storm's coming in. The storm that's hitting the Sierras is headed our way. Anyway, so I am going to finish this and then I will post pictures at the end. Like and subscribe if you want to see what's coming up, because I got some cool stuff. I've been spending a lot of time with my sketchbook and figuring out some, not hacks, well maybe hacks of making things easier, all right? Because pottery, especially when you're first starting out, certain things are hard. And I've got some fun projects. So stick with me, go get muddy, and have a great weekend. Ooh, 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 ooh.